The wind whipped through the bare branches of the old oaks in Forest Hill Park, a symphony of winter whispers. A light dusting of snow coated the ground, barely enough to call it a covering. This snow was a whisper of what used to be a ghostly reminder of winters past. I walked the familiar paths, my breath misting in the crisp air. I could almost hear the echoes of laughter, the crunch of boots on packed snow, the satisfying thwack of a snowball finding its target. This park held more than just memories for me. It held legends of epic snowball fights orchestrated by the most remarkable man I ever knew, my father. Daddy wasn't just a master of snowball warfare. He was a man who seemed to have been born with an innate ability to excel at everything he touched. He was a man of many talents, a jack of all trades with a heart bigger than the sky. His laughter was infectious, and his confidence was inspiring. He could build a house from the ground up, fix any appliance with a piece of string and a paperclip, and spin yarns that would make Mark Twain blush. His hands were as skilled as his mind was sharp. He found joy in the simplest of things, a good cup of coffee on a chilly morning, savoring each sip as if it were a rare delicacy. The sound of rain drumming on the roof, a symphony that played just for him, the infectious laughter of his children, which was like music to his ears. He had this uncanny ability to find the extraordinary in the ordinary, to turn the mundane into something magical. A simple walk in the park could become an adventure. It was impossible to be around him and not feel your spirits soar. His presence was like a warm embrace, comforting and uplifting. He had a story for every occasion, a tale tucked away for every lesson he wanted to impart. His stories were not just entertaining, they were life lessons wrapped in humor and wisdom. And the stories of the snowball fights, those were his epics, tales of cunning strategy, heroic feats of snowball marksmanship, and of course, the unbridled joy of a good, clean fight. They were the stuff of legends passed down through the family like treasured heirlooms. Years later, long after Daddy was gone, I found myself drawn back to those stories. I was clearing out the attic, sifting through boxes of old photographs and forgotten treasures, when I stumbled upon a dusty cardboard box labeled Winter Memories. Inside, nestled amongst yellowed newspaper clippings and faded Polaroids, were the artifacts of Daddy's snowball fights. There were hand-drawn maps of the park, meticulously detailing the strategic locations of snow forts and ammunition stockpiles. There were diaries filled with his spidery handwriting, chronicling the events of each battle, the triumphs and defeats, the moments of camaraderie and laughter. And then I found the photographs, hundreds of them, capturing the sheer unadulterated joy of those winter days. As I leafed through those faded photographs, the years melted away, and I was a child again watching my father orchestrate his winter wonderland. The snowball fights weren't just chaotic free-for-alls. They were carefully orchestrated events that brought a sense of order to the winter wonderland. Daddy approached them with meticulous planning and attention to detail. He saw these battles as an opportunity to teach strategy and teamwork. He divided the participants into teams, assigned captains, and even created a rulebook outlining the acceptable targets and the boundaries of the battlefield. Each team had its own unique strategy, making every snowball fight a new adventure. But for all their organization, the snowball fights were, at their core, about one thing: fun. The laughter and joy that filled the air were the true markers of success. They were a chance for people to forget about their worries, to shed the weight of their everyday lives and embrace the simple joy of play. It was a time when everyone, regardless of age, could feel like a child again. There were snowball fights that spanned entire afternoons, battles that raged until the sun began to dip below the horizon. The fading light only added to the magic of the moment. There were snowball fights that ended in truces, both sides collapsing in exhausted heaps, their laughter echoing through the cold winter air. And these moments of truce were as memorable as the battles themselves. They were a celebration of winter, a testament to the human spirit's ability to find joy in the most unexpected of places. In the end, it wasn't about winning or losing, but about the shared experience and the memories created. Daddy had this quote he lived by, a quote from Nietzsche that he'd scribbled on scraps of paper tucked into books, even once written on a snowball he'd launched at my mother. It was his way of keeping the wisdom close, of reminding himself of the deeper truths in life, even in the most unexpected moments. Without music, life would be a mistake. This was more than just a saying for him. It was a philosophy, a guiding principle. He wasn't talking about music in the literal sense, though he did love a good polka. He found joy in the rhythm of everyday life. He was talking about finding the music in life, the rhythm and the melody that made it worth dancing to. It was about seeing the beauty in the mundane. For him, that music was everywhere. It was in the simple, everyday moments that many might overlook. It was in the laughter of his children, the pure, unfiltered joy that echoed through the house. The warmth of the sun on his face, a reminder of the simple pleasures that life offers. The satisfaction of a job well done, the pride in creating something with his own hands. And it was in those snowball fights, in the joyous chaos, the camaraderie, the shared moments of laughter and play, the sheer, unadulterated fun of it all. These were the moments that made life vibrant and full. He believed in squeezing every last drop of joy out of life, in cherishing every fleeting second, in living each day as if it were a gift, a precious, irreplaceable gift that deserved to be celebrated. The wind whipped a stray plastic bag across the park path, a stark reminder that the world kept spinning even as my memories held me captive. The snow was already beginning to melt, vanishing like tears in the rain. Soon there'd be no trace of it left, just like Daddy. But as I stood there in the gathering dusk, I could almost hear him. I could hear his booming laughter echoing through the trees, could almost feel the phantom sting of a snowball against my cheek. His legacy wasn't in the faded photographs or the hand-drawn maps. It wasn't in the victories or the defeats of those long-ago snowball fights. It was in the spirit of those battles, in the laughter, the joy, the sense of pure, unadulterated fun that he brought to everything he did. I left the park that evening with a renewed sense of purpose. I realized that Daddy's greatest gift to me wasn't his stories or his snowball-making skills. It was his philosophy on life. Embrace it, find the joy in every moment, and never ever be afraid to start a good snowball fight. Life, I realized, is a lot like a snowball. It's fleeting, it's precious, and if you're not careful, it'll melt away before you've had a chance to truly appreciate it. So I'm making a promise to myself, to Daddy, to live a life that's worth remembering, to find the music in every day, to embrace the absurdity, and yes, to never shy away from a good snowball fight. Because in the end, it's not the years in your life that count, but the life in your years.